So we are now recording this call, and let me show you where those recordings are. So first of all, welcome to the course. My name is Daniel Miller. I'm one of the instructors for this course. You'll be meeting some other instructors on Wednesday and Saturday, and then I'll be back with you next Monday. So the days of the course are Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. We only did Tuesday this week because of the Canada Day holiday yesterday.
Yeah. Happy holiday.
Happy holiday,
Canada
yes.
Day, everybody. Happy Canada Day.
Happy
Happy
Canada.
Canada Day, that's right. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you where these recordings are, because you're able to go to these recordings and look at them. So on the home page of Canvas, on this left-hand menu bar, go to Announcements right here under Modules. You go to the Announcements tab and you scroll down where it says TESOL Canada training videos. Click on that. And then there's a link inside here that takes you out to YouTube. And on our YouTube channel, there are many recordings of previous webinars from the last few years. So you can go through here and you can pick out webinars that you want to listen to from previous courses. And the webinars are going to be quite similar. So for instance, here's the webinar I gave on September 5th of 2023. This webinar that's recorded here is going to be very similar to the webinar that we're doing right now. The information is not identical, but it's very similar. So you can have a listen to these different webinars from the past. And that's where they're located. Under Announcements, and then the YouTube channel. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's have an introduction to Canvas. So you'll be using the Advanced TESOL platform, the Certification on Canvas platform.
Is your name Daniel here? Prepare this.
Yeah.
Daniel.
Yes, Adam, what was your question?
Is this your name, Daniel Martin Miller, who prepared this slide?
Yes, it's him, Adam. It's him.
No, okay, thank you.
Yes, it's me. So when you sign into the Canvas platform, be sure to use the same email that you have been using when you communicate with TESOL, because that's how they register you on the Canvas platform. And then, of course, you create your own password.
I have a question, Daniel. Is this advanced certificate, is it accepted in the Middle East and in the overseas countries as the qualification to teach English to teach TESOL? I mean, is it acceptable?
Adam, I'm sorry, I can't really hear you clearly.
Is the advanced certificate, is it an accredited accredited qualification that's acceptable overseas.
He's
With this-
saying is this certificate international and accepted overseas?
Yes, it is. Yes. Thank you, Sahar.
No problem.
Thank you, Zahar. Thank you, Zahar.
Welcome.
Zahar.
Your username is your email. You create a password, and once you're signed in, make sure you go through the Canvas homepage to become very familiar with all parts of it. Once you begin the modules, go through them consecutively. Don't jump ahead because you need to complete every quiz that you come across. You need to complete each quiz to ensure that you have access to the next module.
Daniel, what's the difference between this advanced certificate and the CELTA? Which is more professional? In the overseas countries, the advanced certificate or the CELTA?
Sorry, Adam, I couldn't understand what you said.
I need you to compare between the advanced certificate and the CELTA. CELTA. Regarding the credibility and acceptability in the overseas countries. The advanced certificate and or the CELTA, which is more professional. You advise us to do CELTA also, in addition to TESOL?
Well, TESOL is accepted in most countries, many countries around the world, and by many international education institutions.
And I need you to compare it with the CELTA. CELTA. Can you hear me?
Yeah. He needs you to compare between CELTA and TESOL. And TESOL. I mean, if I would answer it, it's the same, but I think it's different provider. That's it.
I know. No, not regarding the provider. I know the
Both are
providers are different.
accepted everywhere. Both are accepted everywhere.
Which is
But with the TESOL, you end up with a diploma. You know, if you continue after the advanced, you will have a diploma.
Because when they see CELTA, it's a certificate also, and
Yeah.
the advanced certificate is a certificate also. Both are certificates. Both are not diplomas.
Both are certificates, yes, but with the TESOL, after you take the certificate, you can move on into the diploma.
No money. Do you have a scholarship for us, Daniel, to complete the diploma?
But the result is the same. I mean, CELTA, they do it if you do bachelor's degree and you don't have education, so you do the CELTA in order to teach. You know, the same thing as with TESOL. If you have a bachelor's degree in English and you don't have experience in education, you have to do the TESOL to have the experience in education.
That's right. Yes, I agree. That's a good explanation, Sahar. Thank you.
شكرا يا سحر. شكرا.
Welcome.
بالعربي. Thank you, سحر.
In Arabic. Yeah, welcome. No problem.
انت خبرة طويلة انت. ما شاء الله عليك.
I am.
سحر
I do have
long experience.
I
Sahar
do
has a
have
long experience.
Thank you.
She looks very
I'm sure our instructor has, but he needs to just explain to us few things.
Because we work in the Middle East, we work in the same region. I work in Saudi Arabia at King Abdulaziz University for 24 years.
I see. I'm planning to work in Vancouver, so I'm doing the TESOL to be able to work in Vancouver.
Yes. So as you're working through the modules, if you have any questions about anything and you're not able to access a module or a quiz, you can email Simon Baker at info@tesolcanada.org.
Yeah.
So I think that you are Simon Baker. Now I know the difference. You are Daniel.
Now we're going to go back to the Canvas website and just have a quick look at a couple things there. And I see we have some other people who have joined us in the last couple of minutes. We have Karen and Amy and Isa. Welcome to the webinar. My name is Daniel Miller. I'm one of the instructors with TESOL. Yes, Karen put a question in the chat box. If you're having trouble with your audio and video, Karen, I understand. You can work on that for the next meeting. Maybe they'll work by then. And Amy, yes, the start time was 1:30. We started 2 or 3 minutes before 1:30 because we already had a few people on the call. So you did not miss very much at all, just a couple of points that I made, but nothing serious. So don't worry about that. But you're right, the start time officially is 1:30. So I want to draw your attention back to the Canvas platform again. And on the Canvas platform, under modules, I would like you to scroll down to second language acquisition, which is after the grammar unit 4. So just before grammar unit 5, if you go to second language acquisition, and scroll down here a little ways, you come to assignment 1. Now, this is the only place that this assignment is listed. This is your very first assignment. It's a foundation essay. And you are asked to choose one of these 8 topics and write about it. This is only a 2 to 5 page essay. It's not a huge long essay, but you choose one of these topics and you write about it. And when you submit it, you send it into info@tesolcanada.org. That's where you submit all of your assignments that you do. And for this one, in the subject line, put Foundation Essay 1. So I'm going to show you my foundation essay. The topic I chose was number 8, choose 2 or 3 methods of language teaching and compare or discuss the merits of each. So I proceeded to write about that, and I chose CLT, Communicative Language Teaching, Total Physical Response, TPR, and the Outcomes-Based Method, OBM, as used by the Chinese University of Hong Kong, the Grants Committee since 2017. That's the topic I chose to write on. So this is what my essay looked like. It's just a written from my perspective type of essay. Be sure to include a summary. And because this is not a formal research paper, not this one This is not a formal research paper, so you don't need a bibliography. I don't have any footnotes or bibliography in this paper because it's more of an opinion paper that you've written about. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So again, where you find that assignment is in the second language acquisition section under the modules. So scroll down until you come to Unit 4, and just after Unit 4, you have first language and second language acquisition, and you go inside the second language acquisition and scroll down to get to that essay. Okay?
I mean, when
Now, the due date for all these assignments, the due date for any assignment, we usually suggest that the due date should be 2 weeks after you first hear about the assignment. So you should hand this assignment in by 2 weeks from now. If you follow that guideline, that will keep you on track with completing the course in 3 to 4 months. Okay, any questions, folks? All right, very good. I see there's something added in the chat box. Again, from Amy, as it's not a formal research paper, does that mean I don't need any references from reputable sources? That's correct, Amy. I mean, if you do want to use some resources, you certainly can, but as soon as you start using resources, you must put in footnotes and a reference section at the end of bibliography. But I did not find the need for resources or bibliography. So I just wrote it as an opinion paper, which meant that I did not have to add a reference section to bibliography. And if you're not able to attend all of the sessions, each of these sessions is put up on the Canvas platform fairly soon after it's done. So, Amy, when you're on the Canvas platform and you see this menu bar on the left-hand side, if you go inside announcements and scroll down in announcements, you'll see Canada training videos. Click on that and then scroll down, and here's the YouTube channel for TESOL Canada. You go inside the YouTube channel, and this is where today's lecture will show up shortly, in a few days' time. But you can go in here and you can go back to see, here's the first session that was done on September 5th of 2023. You can always go back and listen to this one, or you can go back and listen to other first lectures that are up here as recordings. So this is where the recordings are stored on the YouTube channel. Did that help, Amy, or any other questions? Okay, if that worked for you, then that's good. All right, I'm just going to get a PowerPoint set up here, and then we're going to start into start into this PowerPoint. So I'll share this screen again. And here's today's PowerPoint lecture. The 4 language skills are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Let me set it up as a slideshow. You can see it more easily that way. Listening is a two-way street. There is speech and sound. Those are the two items going out. We initiate sound. We have speaking categories. We have tones, intonations, accents, and just like piano keys in music, we produce the sounds and people hear what we're saying. Then the receiving end of the things, the receiver is processing and creates an image of what they hear, and it relates to a meaning, just like reacting to music, whether it's sad or happy, with mood changes. Speech classifications. There's monologue and dialogue. Monologue is planned with no redundancy. Unplanned, where there is more redundancy. One must process long stretches of speech without an interruption. In dialogue, there's interpersonal, which is social. There's transactional, which is factual information. There's unfamiliar with added references. And there's familiar with the subject, being familiar with the subject as you're talking about it. Second language learners need paying attention to the factual information. Kinds of listening performances. There's reactive, listening to the surface structure of an utterance. Intensive, focusing on certain components of the discourse. Responsive, eliciting immediate response from the learners. Selective, scanning the material for specific information. Extensive, developing a top-down global understanding of the utterance. And interactive, which is including all of the above as students actively participate in discussions, debates, conversations, role play, and etc. Teaching listening comprehension. In an interactive, develop listening comprehension competence. Technique should be intrinsically motivating and appeal to listeners. The technique should utilize authentic language and contexts using real-world tasks. Carefully consider the form of the listener's responses to assess their comprehension. Encourage the development of listening strategies such as the following: looking for key words, looking for nonverbal cues to meaning, predicting a speaker's purpose by the context of the spoken discourse, guessing of meanings, seeking clarification, and listening for the general gist. Then there's bottoms-up and top-down listening techniques. Include both bottoms-up and top-down listening techniques. Bottoms-up processing proceeds from sounds to words to grammatical relationships to lexical meanings, etc., to find a message. Top-down processing is evoked from a bank of prior knowledge and global expectations, a general look. Speaking, factors that affect the oral communication skills. Native language, sound system in the mother tongue will affect the sounds they produce when speaking English. Age, children under the age of puberty stand a chance of sounding like a native more quickly than adults do most often. Exposure, the quality and intensity of exposure are greater than the entire length of time. Innate vocal ability. Some people manifest a phonetic coding ability. They are more attuned to learning. Identity and language ego. One's attitude towards speakers of the target language, and motivation and concern for proper pronunciation. The motivation will strongly influence their results. Speaking performances. 6 types of listening and performances were listed: reactive, intensive, responsive, selective, extensive, and interactive. It is the same for speaking. Imitative. Imitation is performed not for the purpose of meaningful interaction, excuse me, but for focusing on some particular element of language form, such as drills. Intensive. This goes one step beyond the imitative to include any speaking performance designed to practice some phonological or grammatical aspect of the language. Responsive is short replies, not dialogues. Transactional dialogue is the exchanging of specific information extended as an extended form of responsive. Interpersonal dialogue, for the purpose of maintaining social relationships, we use interpersonal dialogue, which is, for example, when you're just having a chat conversation with your neighbor. Types of reading. There is extensive reading, which we do for pleasure, and intensive reading, which has more of a distinct purpose to it. Communicative versus academic reading. Emails and memos versus textbook or study modules. Reading out loud, pronunciation versus reading silently for meaning. Academic reading structures. Introduction, main point, and conclusion. Discourse markers. Structures. First, second, next, in addition, furthermore. Discourse markers connecting words, however, alternatively, therefore, for example. Reading assessment, academic reading tasks, pre-reading strategies, during reading strategies, discourse markers, and connective words. Respond to comprehension questions, similar to IELTS reading tasks. Authentic texts from college studies. Integration in your lesson plan. Added speed reading. Skimming the text, guess the meaning of the text or words, implied meaning and discourse, purpose of the reading of the text. Silent reading is intensive for content and bottom up, extensive scanning for top down. Writing, communicative, and academic. Under academic, you have process writing, which is pre-writing strategies or brainstorming. Writing, formulating ideas for review and self-editing. Post-writing strategies for editing, rephrasing, change of orders, composition, rewriting, conclusion, etc. Text structure. You have the introduction, the main point, and a conclusion. That's a basic setup for any essay format. Writing assessment. You have authentic material and integrated with lesson plans. So authentic material would be if you have a lesson plan, for instance, with business owners who are running a store, running a shop where they sell photocopy machines and other types of electronic equipment. The authentic material could be the actual handbooks that go with those photocopy machines. And you could distribute the handbook and use it as a guide for learning the English that is specific to that group of people. That's authentic reading. Types of writing: self-writing, display writing, real writing, academic writing, vocational writing, personal writing, intensive or controlled writing, which is guided and directed. And that's the end of that PowerPoint presentation. Are there any questions about that PowerPoint, folks?
Not really. These are the skills, some we use at work and others at schools or educational institutions while teaching. We need these skills to apply while teaching.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. So you're going to find this information again on the Canvas platform as you read through the modules.
Yeah.
And reading it again will reinforce what you've heard here through the PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that on purpose, as we said a little while ago, to reinforce what it is that you're learning with this course.
Yeah.
The repetition of information is very important in order to really plant it in your mind.
That's
And
true,
help you
especially
remember
when
it.
we are not native speakers. So we have the information, but sometimes we miss the words to express this information.
That's right. That's
So
right,
we need
exactly.
to always speak to native speakers to enforce our language skills.
Yes, that's true. I agree. So I wanted to, I don't have another PowerPoint set up for today, but we'll do more. You'll do more PowerPoints on Wednesday and then on Saturday. But I just want to speak for a moment about the midterm exam. Now, the midterm exam is based on modules 1 and modules 2 only.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to make sure that you complete modules 1 and 2 with all of the quizzes that are in those 2 modules before the midterm exam. I don't have the date to give you. The date for the midterm exam will come out sometime soon, I expect, and you'll receive an invitation to write that midterm exam. You write it online. It's 2 hours long, and you submit it online. So just as with the final board exam, you're writing this sitting at home on your laptop, or you're sitting on your computer, and you complete the exam totally online. There's no interview in either exam. It's just all written material. There's multiple choice. There are true false questions, and there are essay questions. Now, under the module section, there is, down near the bottom of the module section, there is an example of the final board exam. There is no example for the midterm exam, however. but it follows a very similar format to the final board exam. So if you want to have an understanding of how the midterm exam is set up, you can look at the final board exam and get an idea of how the midterm exam is put together.
But if you do well with the quizzes, then you feel more confident submitting the midterm.
Yes, exactly. That's right. So be sure to read thoroughly through the modules. And when I was reading the modules, when I did this course a few years ago, as I was reading through the modules, I was making point form notes, handwritten notes that I then used to study for the exams.
Because this is the theory part.
Yes,
You need to take notes
that's right.
and memorize.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. So you can start preparing for the midterm exam as soon as you begin working on the modules and reading the modules. And remember to complete all the quizzes, because that makes sure that you have the future modules open up for you. I'm just looking at the Canvas platform to see if there's anything else I should tell you about today. I don't think there is.
Amy has a question.
Oh, does Amy have a question?
Yeah. She says the quizzes so far have been just about English grammar. Is the midterm going to be a standard English test?
Basically, yes. You will have some examples of grammar, English grammar, that you need to answer questions about or fix or select a correct option. But yes, standard English test. And you're right, Amy, the quizzes are all based on English grammar because, of course, this entire course is about teaching English to speakers of other languages. So that's why everything is about English grammar. There are other courses that we offer, for instance, teaching Spanish to speakers of other languages, or teaching Japanese, or teaching Chinese. And in those courses, all of the quizzes are based on the target language. Again, of whatever it is, Spanish or Japanese or whatever it is. But for this course, yes, everything's about English grammar. You
Because
won't, in the quizzes, Amy, you won't really see anything about the teaching process in the quizzes, because you'll have a chance with essays to write about teaching process and discuss different processes or what your favorite process is when you're writing your papers.
Daniel, I have a question. I noticed that there is no any part that covers the testing and evaluation. Testing and evaluation, how to design an English language test, how to evaluate your students and such stuff. Testing and evaluation. No section is included in the program in the program. Testing and evaluation. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Adam, but I'm having difficulty understanding your words. I know your question is about evaluation.
Evaluation and testing. You know, Daniel, because I'm using hearing aids, that's why maybe that's the reason. I'm using hearing aids. You know, I have some degree of
Daniel, I understand what he's
difference.
saying.
أنا ما في سكشن يا سحر عن التستنج والايفالويشن، يعني كيف تضع امتحان
He's
تستنج
saying,
and evaluation.
yeah, he's saying, sorry, Mr. Daniel, he's saying there is no section that describes the testing and evaluation. I think he didn't read the part that you sent about the evaluation and the percentage of grading for each test and quiz.
وكيف تعمل الامتحان، كيف تصمم الامتحان نفسه، how to design the test mechanism,
Oh, okay,
how to
okay.
design it. يعني that's the most
I
important
see.
thing.
I see.
إذا يكون testing. I had a
He's
course before at Cambridge University in England about testing and evaluation, but very strong course. It's not covered
okay.
here in Canada.
Mr. Daniel, he's saying that evaluating and testing students is it part of the course because he believes this is very important.
It has to be added.
Yes, it is a part of the course. And you have an opportunity to discuss evaluation of students when you're doing some of the assignments, such as conversation activities and the lesson plans, the 4 skills lesson plans. So
what I mean is that how to the mechanism of designing a test يا سحر، يعني كيف تضع الامتحان الاختبار نفسه الآلية نفسها the mechanism. You want to focus on the mechanism how to design. يعني if I ask you to design a test, how would you do it? How what are the questions that you will include and why? And what do you want to test? And the division of marks.
Adam, we are not hearing you clearly because you are speaking fast.
كيف انا اتكلم معك بالعربي يعني يا سحر؟ then you can translate that يعني احنا عايزين آلية تضع الامتحانات، كيف تضع الامتحان. الو سامعني يا سحر؟
I hear you, but he says you are going to learn this in the course.
there is another place that you can
منفصل
look in the
خالص، يعني
Canvas platform.
how to design an TESOL test for your students, the mechanism step by step. يعني كيف تضع الامتحان خطوة بخطوة، وانت عايز تقيس ايه، عايز تميجر ايه، what do you want to measure, what do you want to evaluate, and how to divide the marks and so on. We want the exact mechanics of designing a test. عايزين آلية وضع الامتحانات حديدا. This is a very specific question.
Under modules in the Canvas platform, under modules, if you go to this spot right here, TESOL resources, the TESOL manual, you can download it. And in the TESOL manual, there are sections about grading and designing marking scores and that type of thing. The TESOL Canada handbook is also very good, but it's not available right now. So be sure to have a look at these resources under the modules tab. And here with the teacher's toolkit, you've got sections in here: learner needs assessment, testing and assessment. So you've got different areas that are focusing on how you can calculate marks for a student. So you just need to thoroughly go through everything on the Canvas platform because there's a lot of material here.
Hello? Oh,
We have to scan and read and educate ourselves.
Yes. So be sure to go to the TESOL resources under modules
Yeah.
and have a look at the items in there because those are helpful as well.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the information.
I'm sorry Adam missed that. I think he took a phone call.
sorry. I have to open the door for somebody.
So Amy, going back to your last question, yes, the assignments are about teaching English and all the tests are in English itself, definitely. Well, I don't have any other details to cover with you today, folks. So I think we can end today's webinar. It's a little bit early, but that's okay.
Thank you so much for your time and for your
Thank
patience.
you.
Unless you have other questions. If you have other questions, I'll certainly attempt to answer those. But otherwise I'll let you spend time in the Canvas platform so that you can find questions. And if you have questions, write them down and we can talk about them next time.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you very much, folks, for joining today. Everybody have a good few days. And I don't know if I'll see you on Wednesday. I might, but I'll see you next Monday for sure. So take good care.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you.
And good luck with the studying. Okay, bye for
Yeah.
now.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.